we have to fear is
In war,
fear itself.
there is no substitute for victory.
Let us never negotiate out of fear.
We stand undivided, forever united, fighting hand in hand for the liberty we burn, for glory and honor, for our sons and daughters, ever mindful of the lessons we've learned. Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome to the intersection of faith and politics. This is WallBuilders Live with David Barton and Rick Green. Our website is wallbuilderslive.com and wallbuilders.com. If you're a first-time listener, you might be wondering, WallBuilders, what does WallBuilders mean? It comes out of that scripture in Nehemiah that says, arise and rebuild the walls, that we may no longer be a reproach. We're about reaching back into America's history and rebuilding those foundational truths that made America so successful in the first place. If you go to our website at wallbuilders.com, there is just a wealth of information, articles, downloads that you can get for free there to get educated about the Founding Fathers. And then there's a wealth of information in the DVDs and books and different things that David has put out over the years, bringing back the truth of America's founding. If you haven't seen some of David Barton's materials, they're just phenomenal. The library there that he has of over 100,000 documents predating 1812, it is just phenomenal. Handwritten letters of the Founding Fathers, their Bibles. I mean, all kinds of great ways to go back and really get the truth of where we came from. A lot of people today claim to be experts, and they talk about what the Founding Fathers said or did or believed, but they never go back to the original sources. And that's why we have a warped view today of what the founders were really about. When you hear people say they were atheists and agnostics and deists, and it's all based on conjecture, it's all based on misrepresentations of things that they said and did. What we do is we go back to the originals, and we just bring you those originals. Tons of these original documents actually available right there on the website at wallbuilders.com. So go check it out. And wallbuilderslive.com is our radio website. You can get archives of our programs there for the last few months. And you can also sign up for our email. We'll let you know what's coming up every week in terms of our guests here on the program. So check that out there, and you can send in your questions to radio@wallbuilders.com. Got a special program today that we're going to be talking about a movie that came out just a couple of days ago called God's Not Dead. And what we want to do with this is not only encourage you to see the movie, because it's just a great movie and really well done, high quality, incredible star quality, and people you'll recognize in the movie and done really well. But it's about a whole lot more than that. I mean, our purpose here at WallBuilders is to influence the culture and to preserve those principles and to bring them back. And so it's about inspiring and encouraging people to stand up for our faith and stand up for truth. And we believe this movie does that. It's going to be one of those things that you'll experience as you watch the movie, what many of our students are facing on college campuses across the country today. Their faith being attacked, ridiculed, mocked, put down, and frankly being put in an incredibly difficult situation. And this movie, God's Not Dead, captures that in a dramatic way, in an incredibly well-done way. So I pray and I hope that it's going to inspire a generation to stand up for their faith on campus. But also it's going to wake up a lot of people. There are a lot of people right now, maybe some of you listening right now, that aren't aware of how bad it is out there in terms of the attacks on our faith. And certainly on our college campuses across the country. It's why so many of our young people of faith are walking away from the church after a year or two of being on a college campus and being bombarded in the way that this movie outlines. So we encourage you to check it out. Our guest today, when we come back from the break, is Jeremy Tedesco from Alliance Defending Freedom, and he has handled cases exactly like what this student faces in the movie, God's Not Dead. Jeremy Tedesco when we come back right here on WallBuilders Live.
I'm Professor Radisson. This is Philosophy 150. Fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words. God is dead.
When your faith is tested, would you fight for what you believe?
I actually believe in God.
To me, he's not dead. He's alive.
God's not dead. He's surely alive.
God's Not Dead, the movie. Join the movement at the box office and say, God's not dead. He's surely alive. Now playing. Rated PG. For more information, go to godsnotdeadthemovie.com.
Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on WallBuilders Live with David Barton and Rick Green. Our guest today, our good friend Jeremy Tedesco from Alliance Defending Freedom. Always good to have you, Jeremy. Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for having us.
Hey, we're usually talking about a case that you guys are actually on the ground in battle regarding some religious liberty case across the country. But today we're going to talk entertainment and how in the movie industry there's a great movie coming out that can actually help us win some of these battles in the long run. And it highlights some of, frankly, the lunacy that's happening out there on some of our college campuses. This movie, God's Not Dead. Jeremy, tell us about it.
Well, yeah, the movie is, the story of a student who actually stands up for his faith and defends his faith in a classroom setting on college campuses. And it's just a great movie. It's timely. Christian students on college campuses certainly find their faith under attack when they go to college. A lot of students fall away from their faith when they go to college. They don't have the courage to defend themselves. They don't have the means, or they're not equipped to defend their faith. And this movie will challenge people to do it. And we'll tell the story of a student doing it and being successful in doing so.
What made you guys get so interested in this particular movie?
Well, I just think it's a great movie for the times. Our college campuses are so, they have such a negative outlook on religious speech on campus. They have these rules on campus that, allow universities to restrict conservative, pro-life, and religious speech in ways that no other speech on campus is restricted. ADS files cases all throughout the year, every academic year, challenging the application of these kind of policies to Christian students, Christian clubs, pro-life clubs. And so I just think it's a great movie to highlight this issue on university campuses and the hostility that a lot of university campuses, a lot of university professors have toward Orthodox Christians.
Speaking of that, not to sidetrack too far from the movie, but this is what it's really about. I thought the campus was supposed to be this arena of ideas where you could debate and you could discuss and you weren't put down for a particular belief. That really has changed over the years.
Yeah, you're right. And the Supreme Court is filled with, a lot of their cases are filled with statements about that, how the public universities are the marketplace of ideas. They're where students should be able to engage in the most, wide open and robust debate possible. It's really the place in our society where it should be the most freewheeling debate, the public university campus in general. But no, that's not what we see. Lots of times we see debate being skewed one way, and we're always on the losing end of that when it comes to Christian speech on campus.
So what do you think the movie will do to help in that really to bring back that freedom of debate on the college campus? I
think the best part about this movie is it will most likely inspire people to defend their faith on campus and inspire college students to stand up for their faith and challenge them. A lot of people face these problems and they back down. They allow the university to just run over their rights and say, well, I'll just get by.
Well, it's intimidating. It's very intimidating. If you're sitting there as an 18-year-old and first year in college and, the professor is, bad-mouthing faith and doing like in this movie, saying God's dead, and here you are first time on campus and you got 300 other kids in the class and, anybody speaks up is going to get hammered by this guy that's been doing this type of thing for 20 or 30 years, so he's good at it. So it's very intimidating to take him on.
It is, and I've been there. My philosophy class, my freshman year, one of my first classes I had, I defended a pro-life standpoint in a public speech in that class, and the professor dressed me down in front of the entire class, called me a misogynist, a woman hater, and all these other terrible things.
Wow.
And it was very challenging, and I think a lot of students go through that. They don't know what to do about it, and they really shy away from the fight because a lot of times they don't understand what their rights are, but they just don't feel like they can defend their faith, and I think this movie will inspire them to do so. I really hope it does.
Do you think a lot of times in that situation, and this may have happened to you, that a lot of students don't realize how many other students in that classroom would stand with them if just somebody would raise the flag, raise the banner, people would rally around them?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that it just takes one person to really stand up and say, no, I'm drawing the line here, to make a rational, reasonable public defense of their faith and their beliefs on certain issues, and people say, yeah, I agree with that, I agree with that. I think a lot of people do agree with those positions. They're worried. It's such an unpopular view on campus that they're going to get marginalized and treated different by their professors if they defend it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Got to take a very quick break, Jeremy. When we come back, let's talk about the movie itself. This thing's has got some incredible stars in it. Kevin Sorbo, Dean Cain, the Robertsons make a cameo in the movie. The Newsboys do the music. I mean, this is a star-studded cast. Back in a moment, Jeremy Tedesco, our guest. We're talking about the movie that just came out this past weekend, God's Not Dead. Encourage you to go check it out. In fact, if you go to godsnotdeadthemovie.com, you can find out which theaters it's playing at in your particular city, and you can get downloads there for the trailer and everything else to share with your church. Back in a moment here on WallBuilders Live.
This is David Barton with another moment from America's history. Revisions today often assert that our founding fathers were atheists or agnostics or deists. This charge is not new. In fact, Patrick Henry was even called a deist in his lifetime. Clearly, no one could question his patriotism, but Henry was hurt that they would question his Christianity. Against the charge that he was a deist, Patrick Henry thundered, "Deism, with me, is but another name for vice and depravity. I hear it is said by the deists that I am one of their number, and indeed, that some good people think I am no Christian. This thought gives me much more pain than being called a traitor. Being a Christian is a character which I prize far above all this world has or can boast." Patrick Henry was quick to refute the charge of deism and to declare his open belief as a Christian.
For more information on God's hand in American history, contact WallBuilders at 1-800-8-REBUILD.
Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on WallBuilders Live. Jeremy Tedesco is with us from Alliance Defending Freedom. We're talking about the new movie that just came out called God's Not Dead. A star-studded cast. Jeremy, usually when a faith movie comes out that is not coming from one of the major Hollywood, studios in California, you don't see this kind of a cast. They've got some really big names in this movie.
Yeah, you're right. Kevin Sorbo, Dean Cain, a lot of other individuals that people will at least recognize when they see their faces and probably recognize their names. I mean, I loved Hercules when I was a kid and watched the Superman show as well. I think a lot of people would be surprised to see, like you said, a movie that's not put out by a major studio was able to get a lot of these kind of folks into the movie, and I think it gives it some credibility. Like a lot of these movies suffer lack, they lack that.
And honestly, it also adds to the quality. I mean, when you even just watching the trailer, you can tell this is not the old, 15, 20 years ago, quote-unquote Christian film or faith film that, to be blunt, just came out cheesy. But this movie actually comes out really strong. I mean, it's a high quality. This is as good as anything you're going to see come out of Hollywood in terms of quality.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the quality of the production is great, and I think the actors add to the quality of it, for sure.
What do you think folks at home should do to help spread the word with this? I mean, if our real goal is to impact the culture, not just entertain, this is done in an entertaining way, and it's well worth going to see and vote with your dollars and go see the movie. But in terms of actually using this movie to help win the culture war and impact what's happening on college campuses across the country, what do you recommend folks at home to do?
I think churches should go as groups to go see it. I think they should bring it in and show it to their congregation. I think they especially should push it towards the younger students, college and K through 12 age kids. I mean, like I said before, it's a challenging movie. It's kind of, you may be able to think of times in your life where you didn't stand up for your faith when you watched this kid go through the story he goes through. And you may think, boy, I should have done that, and next time I'm not going to make that mistake. Or when this happens to me, I'm going to do this, just like this kid is doing in the movie. And so, I think we really just need to share it with especially the Christian community, because I think there's a lot of folks within the Christian community who, for whatever reason, would rather shy away from these battles and just take them on. So that's the first thing. But I think it's also an important movie to share with non-Christians, and so they understand, we're not just crazy kooks who believe in some kind of fairy tale. We have serious beliefs, and there's a serious defense to them, and it's laid out very well in this movie.
Well, there's an incredible amount of tools to go along with the movie. If you go to the website, godsnotdeadthemovie.com, and we'll have a link today for you folks at wallbuilderslive.com, but they've got free resources, everything from a Bible study that can go along with it, a church campaign kit, a prayer guide, a lot of powerful tools that you can use to do exactly what Jeremy's talking about and sharing it with your friends and family. I was surprised, Jeremy. I saw even just the social media campaign before the movie came out last weekend was wildly successful. Hundreds of thousands of people that have responded to this, and I'm wondering if that's because we're starting to get a sense in the church and in the communities of faith that we are under attack, that there is a need to push back and respond, and people have just been hungry for an opportunity to do that, and they see in this movie a young man doing exactly that.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and I really hope that there is a groundswell. A recognition that, yes, our faith is under attack in this culture increasingly. You look at the HHS mandate through Obamacare, just about everything you can point to. You can say, well, faith's under attack here, under attack here, under attack here. And I think people are starting to finally see that at some point and say, we need to take a stand or we're going to lose our rights completely. So I really hope that, as much as I hate to see these things happen, I really hope that it'll end up with a revival within the Christian community, and that folks will be willing to stand up for what they believe in and rededicate themselves to the faith that they claim.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And sometimes the best way to make that happen is a powerful story. You and I could get on and talk all day in lawyer language about the Constitution and our freedom of religion and all those things. And not too many people get moved. Some do, but a story, man. When you tell somebody,
a story with a hero and a villain is no better way to portray it.
Absolutely, there's something about sitting in that theater chair, the music, the drama, and you feel like you're in the place, in this case, of this kid in class, and you feel that pressure. You feel exactly what he's feeling at that point, and then you also get the triumph of when he does stand up. There's just something special about that, and it's exactly what drama's intended to do, to inspire people, and in this case, inspire people to stand up for the Lord.
That's right, and I certainly hope that's the impact the movie has.
Well, hopefully it will prevent some cases that you guys have to take on, but thankfully when those things do happen, when Christians are willing to stand up for their faith and in the public square, and in this case in those university classrooms, thankfully you guys are there. And I just can't thank you enough, Jeremy, for what you do, for what Alliance Defending Freedom does on so many levels for our freedom. I mean, today we're obviously talking about religious liberty and standing up for your faith in that classroom. But, man, you guys are at it in virtually every courtroom in the country. You're there in communities where people can't afford to take on these fights. Y'all come in and help and serve for free. And thankfully, people around the nation support you guys financially. And I want to encourage people to visit your website as well today so that you can continue to do what you're doing. So give us that website and let's tell folks where to go.
Absolutely. It's alliancedefendingfreedom.org, and it's our pleasure and privilege to do all the work you just described.
Last thing I'll ask you, how can folks pray for you guys at Alliance Defending Freedom?
Hey, we've got a lot of cases pending before the Supreme Court right now. 2 cases. We'll have a decision on the 24th of March on whether the court is going to hear the cases or not. We certainly want them to grant review in both of those cases. And we've got oral argument on the 25th of March in Conestoga and the Hobby Lobby cases that are the abortion pill mandate cases in Obamacare. And we've got a decision pending in the Greece versus Galloway case, the legislative prayer case.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to get outcome there. So, there's 4 Supreme Court cases that people can be on their knees praying about.
Which state did the legislative prayer case come out of?
That was out of New York.
In New York, all right. And so this one, obviously affect the whole country depending on the outcome.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this is one of those strange ones. I mean, when you look at the history itself and you see all of those legislative, not only prayers, but sermons in state legislatures and the rich history we have of faith being exhibited in the halls of our legislature, I don't even understand the logic of folks that want to shut that down and stop it. But clearly they've done it, and you guys have had to go to court to try to prevent them from infringing.
Absolutely. It's a good example of the aggressive secularism in our culture and how faith is under attack. There's another example of another iteration of it with the attack on legislative prayer. In 1983, the Supreme Court upheld the practice, but here we are back again having to defend it. So, the left never stops.
No, they don't.
They're going to continue attacking, you're going to continue fighting, and that's why Alliance Defending Freedom is here.
It's actually
we're always there to show up for the battle.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to tell you. That's what the left tends to do better than us. They tend to have that long-term view. They'll take little bitty victories here. Doesn't matter how many defeats. They just keep coming back. We tend to be, one day we fight and the next day we go home, whether we win or lose, that sort of thing. You guys have stayed the course. How long? It's been 20 years now, I think. Or what was it, early 90s when you guys first started defending out there and continued? I mean, you just continue to grow, training more and more attorneys to join. In fact, that was one other thing I wanted to mention was, I as an attorney, I have friends that feel such a lack of purpose in what they're doing and they want to be in this fight, if they want to
Right.
become a trained attorney for you guys at ADF, what's the best way for them to get started?
Yeah, they go to our academies. They can contact us and find out about our academies where we train attorneys throughout the country in private practice, at big law firms, wherever. We'll take you if you want to work on our issues, and we'll train you. We'll give you a lot of CLE credit for your CLE mandatory requirements in your state, and you'll fly to a really beautiful location, usually in California or Florida, for a week-long training session. And after that, then you're an allied attorney of ADF, and we send you cases, we ask for your help on various things, and we engage you in the battle.
So you don't have to leave the law firm or wherever you are. This is something you can add to what you do that's just absolutely full of purpose, protecting our Constitution, protecting our freedoms, and preserving it for the next generation. You can do this, part-time is not the right word, I guess, but it's
Right.
almost like you're making yourself available for when something happens in your community or your state.
Boots on the ground in your community. I mean, that's one of the best parts about our allied attorney program is we have over 2,000 attorneys trained, all 50 states covered easily, and then some internationally as well now. And so, something pops up in whatever, Chattanooga, I can call up an attorney and say, I need help on this, and I need boots on the ground. So it's a great network of attorneys that we have, and you're right, it gives them an opportunity to have a part in this battle, even though they're still working wherever they work and in private practice.
I love it. Good stuff. Sorry to throw that at you, folks. Jeremy had no idea I was going to ask about that, but it's just important. I think there's a lot of people out there that want to be a part of what you guys are doing, and hopefully this movie will inspire them to want to be a part of it. Jeremy, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
That's Jeremy Tedesco from Alliance Defending Freedom. Check out their website today. We'll have an easy link for you there at wallbuilderslive.com. The movie is God's Not Dead. That's God's Not Dead, themovie.com. Also have a link there on our website. Back in a moment here on WallBuilders Live. Red, White, Blue, and Green is a new reality show following the Green family around the nation, rediscovering the American principles that made us the most successful nation in the history of the world. You can be a part of launching this new reality series by visiting rickgreen.com and clicking on the Red, White, Blue, and Green tab. Here's a sneak peek from the pilot episode. Rick Green coming to you live from the Lone Star State of Texas, a beacon of hope and freedom to liberty lovers around the world. Today I'm thinking about why do we do what we do? Because everywhere we go as a family, when we're traveling and speaking, someone comes up to us and asks, where's the hope? Is it over for America? They genuinely feel like the stars and stripes are fading. I felt that. But when I look at my family, whether it's my son Trey and his drive to exceed expectations, or Reagan and his love for serving and teaching other people, Cameron and her determination to outperform her brothers in everything she does, or my little stagehound Rhett and his boundless enthusiasm. Through their eyes, I see a vibrant nation. When my children stand in the birthplace of the Constitution, or on battlefields where patriots gave their lives, I can see in them a rekindled flame of the American spirit. The future of my children's country is bright because it's built on the foundation of an incredible providential history. A history of patriots and pastors, entrepreneurs and freedom fighters, mothers, fathers, families like yours and mine, who chose to live like their nation depended on it. And it still does. So when people ask us, where is the hope? We tell them, it's in you. Each of us, every individual, every family, has a duty to fight for freedom and add our voice, our color, to the American dream. For our family, it's red, white, and blue, and a little bit of green. To learn more about Red, White, Blue, and Green, visit rickgreen.com.
Let the torch of freedom burn.
We're back. Thanks for staying with us here on WallBuilders Live. Special thanks to Jeremy Tedesco and all of the attorneys with Alliance Defending Freedom. Really do encourage you to visit their website today, and we'll make that link easy on our homepage at wallbuilderslive.com. But it's very simply alliancedefendingfreedom.org. Go check it out and get on their email list, and you'll learn about these cases that they're fighting across the country. You'll be shocked by some of the cases they have to go fight, but it'll give you a chance to pray for them in specific cases and support them and help to spread the word as well. I think the more educated we get about these things, the more there is the sunlight shown on a lot of the abuses that take place out there, the better chance we have of changing those things and getting the country moving in the right direction. In reiterating something that Jeremy and I were talking about, the power of stories, just the fact that this movie, God's Not Dead, the way that it highlights this young man's story and really puts you in that position. There's just something about the way that drama can be used to educate us and to move us and inspire us. So we encourage you to check out the movie. It's called God's Not Dead. And go see it soon. Last weekend was opening weekend. That would have been the best time to go see it. I wish we'd been able to do this last week, but this week is great too. Do it during this opening week. Go in the next couple of days if you get a chance and check it out. It's so important when it comes to media like this for us to vote with our dollars and make sure that we're supporting those programs out there that support our faith and don't tear down the culture, but instead build the culture back up. The website for the movie is called godsnotdeadthemovie.com. And again, we'll have links today at WallBuildersLive.com. Speaking of the power of stories, as we mentioned last week, we've got our new reality show coming out, and I just be honest with you, is weird to me. I'm not a big reality show fan myself, so this has been kind of strange for us to have cameras following us around everywhere. But we're teaching history through the eyes of our children as we visit places like Independence Hall and St. John's Church and Lexington, Massachusetts, and all these powerful, powerful places in the history of America. And we're sharing it through the program Red, White, Blue, and Green. And on our website today, we'll have a link for you if you want to be a part of that as well. You can find out more about the program and how to get a copy of the director's cut of the pilot, which is now available this week. And you can get that and check it out yourself and help spread the word about the program and give people a chance to learn history in a fun, exciting, and entertaining way. We sure appreciate you joining us today here on WallBuilders Live. Be sure and visit our websites at wallbuilders.com and wallbuilderslive.com, and also look for David Barton and Rick Green on Facebook. Thank you for joining us on WallBuilders Live with David Barton and Rick Green.
We stand under